The depths of despair. The sun was just beginning its descent, casting an orange glow over the pristine waters of Lake Ravenwood. Jack, a rugged outdoorsman in his early 40s, steered the small fishing boat through the calm surface. Beside him, his teenage son Ryan eagerly baited his hook. They had come to this secluded spot for a bonding trip, far away from the pressures of their daily lives. "Ready to catch the big one?" Jack asked, flashing a grin at his son. Ryan nodded, eyes sparkling with excitement. "You bet, Dad. I've heard the stories about the giant catfish here." Jack chuckled. "Legends, more like. But hey, let's see what we can reel in." The father and son cast their lines into the water, the silence of the lake only broken by the occasional splash of a jumping fish. Hours passed in companionable quiet, the peacefulness of nature seeping into their bones. As dusk settled, a thick fog began to roll in, shrouding the lake in an eerie mist. Jack frowned, glancing around. Strange. The weather forecast didn't mention fog. Ryan shrugged. "It's kind of cool, don't you think? Adds to the mystery." Jack forced a smile, though an uneasy feeling gnawed at him. "I suppose." Night fell quickly, the darkness pressing in from all sides. The only light came from their lantern, casting long shadows on the water. Jack and Ryan continued to fish, their conversation dwindling to murmurs. Suddenly, Ryan's line jerked violently. "Dad, I've got something!" Jack sprang to his feet, helping his son brace against the powerful pull. "Steady, Ryan. This one's a fighter." Together, they struggled with the line, the boat rocking precariously. The unseen creature beneath the surface thrashed, sending ripples through the foggy water. After a tense struggle, they managed to reel in their catch. But what emerged from the depths was no ordinary fish. A grotesque, half-rotted creature flopped onto the deck, its gaping mouth filled with razor-sharp teeth. Its eyes glowed with a malevolent light, and a rancid stench filled the air. Ryan recoiled in horror. "What is that thing?" Jack grabbed a nearby oar, using it to push the monstrous fish back into the water. "I don't know, but it's not something we want to keep." The creature splashed back into the lake, disappearing into the murky depths. Jack's heart pounded in his chest as he scanned the water, searching for any sign of danger. "Let's head back," Jack said, trying to keep his voice steady. "This doesn't feel right." Ryan nodded, his excitement replaced by fear. "Yeah, I think we've had enough for one night." Jack started the motor, guiding the boat towards the shore, but the fog grew thicker, obscuring their path. The landscape around them seemed to shift, the familiar landmarks vanishing into the mist. "Dad, are we lost?" Ryan's voice trembled. "No, just a little turned around," Jack replied, though he didn't believe his own words. "We'll find our way." As they navigated the fog, strange noises echoed across the water, distant wails and whispers that set their nerves on edge. Shadows moved just beyond their vision, too quick to be seen clearly. Jack tightened his grip on the wheel. "Stay close, Ryan. We'll be all right." But the reassurance felt hollow. The lake seemed to come alive with sinister intent, its tranquil surface hiding unknown terrors. Hours passed with no sign of the shore. The fog showed no sign of lifting, and the eerie noises grew louder, more insistent. Jack's hands ached from gripping the wheel, his eyes straining to pierce the gloom. Ryan huddled close, his fear palpable. "Dad, what if we never get out of here?" "Don't say that," Jack snapped, though his own dread mirrored his son's. "We will. We have to." Suddenly, the boat lurched as if something massive had collided with it. Jack and Ryan were thrown off balance, crashing into the sides. The lantern toppled, plunging them into darkness. Panic set in as Jack fumbled for a flashlight. When he finally clicked it on, the beam revealed the water around them churning violently. Something huge circled the boat, just beneath the surface. "Hold on!" Jack shouted, starting the motor again. But the creature struck once more, nearly capsizing them. In the chaos, The flashlight slipped from Jack's grasp, falling into the water with a splash. Darkness enveloped them, and Jack's mind raced. "Ryan, stay low and hold on to something!" But Ryan's voice was lost in the cacophony of crashing waves and guttural growls. Jack's heart pounded as he desperately tried to control the boat, but it was a futile effort. The unseen beast was toying with them, dragging them deeper into the lake. Just as Jack felt hope slipping away, the boat suddenly stilled. The water grew calm, the fog lifting slightly to reveal a small, rocky island ahead. Jack wasted no time, steering towards it with all his remaining strength. They stumbled onto the island, their breaths ragged and bodies trembling. Jack collapsed onto the rocky shore, pulling Ryan close. "Are you okay?" Ryan nodded, tears streaming down his face. "What was that, Dad? What happened?" "I don't know," Jack replied, his voice hoarse. "But we're safe now. We'll wait here until morning and figure out what to do." They huddled together, the cold seeping into their bones. The fog hung around the island like a shroud, and the eerie noises continued to echo across the water. But exhaustion overcame them, and they eventually fell into a restless sleep. Jack awoke to the sound of splashing water. He sat up, blinking in the pale dawn light. Ryan was already awake, staring out at the lake with wide eyes. "Look," Ryan whispered, pointing. Jack followed his gaze to see a figure standing on the water's surface, slowly approaching the island. The figure was clad in tattered, dripping clothes, its face obscured by a hood. It moved with a jerky, unnatural gait, and as it drew closer, Jack's blood ran cold. The figure lifted its head, revealing hollow eyes and a mouth twisted into a sinister grin. It raised a bony hand, beckoning them. "Run, Ryan!" Jack shouted, grabbing his son's arm and pulling him away from the shore. They scrambled over the rocks, their breaths coming in ragged gasps. But the figure continued to approach, its pace quickening. Jack's mind raced, searching for a way to escape. They reached the center of the island, where a large, gnarled tree stood. Jack pushed Ryan behind it, positioning himself between his son and the approaching figure. "Stay behind me," he said, his voice shaking. "I'll protect you." The figure stopped a few feet away, its hollow eyes fixed on Jack. "You cannot escape," it hissed, its voice like nails on a chalkboard. "This lake is cursed, and so are you." Jack stood his ground, fists clenched. "What do you want from us?" The figure's grin widened. "Your souls. The lake demands a sacrifice." Jack's heart pounded. "I won't let you take my son." The figure tilted its head. "Brave words, but the lake will have its due." With a sudden, unnatural speed, the figure lunged at Jack. He dodged, grabbing a fallen branch and swinging it at the creature. The branch passed through the figure's body as if it were made of smoke. Ryan screamed, and Jack's resolve hardened. He couldn't let this thing take them. He lunged at the figure, trying to tackle it, but his hands met only air. The figure laughed, a chilling sound that echoed across the island. "You cannot fight me," it taunted. "You belong to the lake now." Desperation clawed at Jack's mind. He had to think of something, anything, to save his son. His eyes landed on the gnarled tree, its roots twisted and ancient. An idea sparked. "Ryan, help me!" he shouted, grabbing one of the larger roots. Ryan ran to his side, confusion and fear in his eyes. "What are we doing?" "Just trust me," Jack replied, his voice firm. Together, they pulled at the root, their combined strength slowly loosening it from the ground. The figure watched, its grin fading. "What do you think you're doing?" Jack didn't answer, focusing all his energy on the root. With a final heave, it came free, revealing a deep hole beneath the tree. A foul stench rose from the hole, making them gag. "Get in," Jack said, pushing Ryan towards the hole. "But Dad—" "Now!" Ryan obeyed, sliding into the hole. Jack followed, pulling the root back into place just as the figure lunged at them. Darkness enveloped them once more, but this time it felt like a sanctuary. They landed in a small underground chamber, the air thick with the smell of decay. Jack's flashlight had miraculously survived the fall, and he clicked it on, revealing the chamber's grim contents. Bones and tattered clothes littered the ground, the remnants of past victims. Ryan clung to Jack, his eyes wide with fear. "Dad, what is this place?" "I don't know," Jack replied, trying to keep his voice steady. "But it's safe, for now." They huddled together, the cold seeping into their bones. The fog hung around the island like a shroud, and the eerie noises continued to echo across the water. But exhaustion overcame them, and they eventually fell into a restless sleep.